Yeah, I used to be a Catholic. I found out that my religion doesn't do much to my life, and I've started to believe in evolution. My family doesn't like me anymore for my beliefs. I want my kids to be open-minded, to have their own vision on the things. Jesus existed. He was probably hung on the cross, but the rest of it was made up by people.
Would there be a gene for like thievery or for drunkenness or for lying, cheating, stealing? Would that be driven by genes?
Yeah, I would say so, yes. But yeah, I'm still looking. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
It's just the way my brain reached to a certain level where I'm not taking any more from any religion, actually.
Sure.
To be a good person, and that's the way I want to live.
Hey, I just had a good conversation with a Polish man who's kind of self-made guy. He came to London with little money in his pocket and built a business and built his life here, family. But he's currently going through some hard times. He's going through a divorce period and is just looking to a little bit more peace in his life. And I've tried to speak to him of the peace that comes through finding peace in our spirits, in our lives. But I think he would not have any of it. Actually, he through his life, I guess he's learned to rely fully on himself, and spoke about science as being something that he would believe in, and not religion. And in fact, his experiences in Poland and his family on his wife's side have been quite negative as a result of the Roman Catholic beliefs that they've held, and he doesn't believe that that's the answer to him. He was quite negative about it, even though he's kind of respecting the value of the religion, but not something that he finds personal value in. And so I left it with him, this idea that we are more than flesh and blood. We're more than just atoms. We are spiritual beings, and that true peace can be only found by looking at who made us, the one who made us for a relationship with himself. And so, not sure how much that has landed with him, but I've left that thought with him, and I do pray that he would, maybe as he continues to find and builds his future, that idea would resonate with him at some level, and that he would give it another try. It's my prayer anyway. Thank you for watching. I'll pray for that man, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless. Do you have any faith? Do you have a belief or religion?
Yeah, I used to be a Catholic. I used to be, as I said, as I stopped believing. There were so many reasons why. I found out that my religion doesn't do much to my life, doesn't change anything, and yeah, I believe it's like old style of thinking. I've been in exploring technology and all the scientists recent years, and I've started to believe in evolution. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm into that. I can see that people are developing. So we came from Big Bang. I would say that's my belief, and I think religion these days just make so much mess on the world, and people killing each other for certain beliefs. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the religion doesn't work to me anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, even though my family doesn't like me anymore for my beliefs, that's why on Christmas I'm sitting here on the bench, and they play to be a Catholic back home in Poland. So yeah, it all doesn't really work for you. Doesn't really work to me.
Got it. Sorry to hear about the issues that you're experiencing with your family. But I guess you mentioned about science and something that you've been looking at. I guess how much have you looked into this sort of idea of evolution and religion? How do you think that it's truly in conflict? Like, is there no way to bridge that gap between what religion says and what the evolution is claiming?
Yeah, I cannot see that you can bond those two ideas together. It's one of each. It's just opposite way of thinking. As I said, we're developing our body is developing. The religion doesn't. The God didn't create us. I don't believe we were created from a bone or. And we just, I think we were just constantly brainwashed. It depends where you're born. That's where you had pumped in your head, and I don't know if I'm answering your questions correctly, but.
Yeah, but so let me maybe do a little bit more specific. Like, for example, you talk about Big Bang, right? So one of the things that my background is a little bit in science as well. But one thing I know that when the Big Bang was discovered, i.e. that the fact that the universe was, started, everything started from this point of singularity, and then it's expanding.
It's expanding, and we can notice that.
And we can see the background radiation, and we can see the expansion rate and all that stuff. The scientists were at that stage. My understanding is they were surprised because that shows that there was a point of beginning. Right, and then if there's a beginning, that means that there's some sort of an event, some sort of a force or something that caused things to go bang.
Yeah.
Right, and it's not a circle. It's not like it's going to come back into the. It's not like it's going to go bang and then it's going to expand for a while and then contract for a while and then go back to the beginning, and it's all going to repeat. In fact, the rate of expansion is accelerating. Right, to the extent that it seems like the universe is going to be expanding ever so more until it reaches. If nothing else happens, it's going to come to a death. A universe is going to reach a point of death. Which
we don't know that yet.
We don't know that for sure, but that's the model, the physical model, right? But then my point is that the scientists were sort of surprised by that because they say, okay, that means this is we're living in a unique universe, a universe that had a beginning, that's going to have an end, and it's never going to be the same again. And so, what caused the bang? And what is the point of this universe, therefore, right? And so, a lot of the scientists have looked at it is they started going back to the sort of theological questions, right? So, did God maybe cause this bang to go? Yeah. Did God kind of start the movement? Yeah. Did He sort of orchestrate it all? Have you heard of any of those sort of thoughts?
Yeah. I had, but as I said, no one knows anything for sure what actually happened with the Big Bang, and the scientists still working on it to discover what has happened. There is no 100% answer what was it and who caused it. So I hope on my lifetime we can discover a bit more about that.
That's the point of science, right? Is to continue to research and to find the truth. Yeah. Okay. Now you mentioned you're from Poland, so therefore your background was, I guess, when you were growing up, that's a Catholic country, right?
Yeah, and everyone Catholic and very strict. I decided to move to London as I don't want my kids to grow up in this environment.
Right.
Because it's in Poland it's just black and white, nothing in between, and the people are still brainwashed with the politics as well. There's politics involved into that, and I don't want I want my kids to be open-minded, to have their own vision on the things in the future, and
makes sense. Yeah, and you talked a little bit about that closed-mindedness, or how would you describe? I mean, if you were to summarize, like talk about the Catholic faith and religion, right, and Christianity, how would you summarize? What is the basic message of Christianity? What is it there to do apart from, let's put to one side maybe all the sort of, the corruption that comes with it, the institutions that what is the message?
Just mainly to be a good person for everyone around you, and be a good person for yourself. So it doesn't teach you anything wrong, but there are certain things which I don't like. like homosexuality, sickness, and all the abortion things which happened in the recent years in Poland. I'm against about that. Yeah, it's actually a good religion. You can get the good stuff from it. You can be a good person in life at the end. So, but all the shitty things which you say is coming with it, which I don't buy it. Yeah.
And do you think it's possible to separate the two? Like, could we be Christian and not necessarily Roman Catholic, or not necessarily institution, belonging to a specific institution? Could we just be followers of Jesus Christ, for example? Is that possible?
I didn't get that question clearly.
So, for example, like people say, I am a Christian. That usually means, okay, which are you, Roman Catholic? What are you? What kind of Christian are you? That makes you immediately part of some sort of institution, some sort of a,
Package.
big package, right? Some sort of a package, right? But could we be Christian and not be part of that package?
I rather no. I think you have to believe what the religion said. It's not
Right,
like
okay.
you have to follow what Jesus Christ said and follow all these rules to become a Christian. If you ask him about that. So yeah, you cannot be a Muslim, or you cannot mix religions. You have to follow one route.
Yeah. I guess what I meant was, like, some people, obviously there's different denominations, right? And here in England, there's the England Church, right? There's a Protestant church, there's a Baptist, there's Methodist, there's been the whole Reformation from the Catholicism 500 years ago. There's been big Reformation, right? Protestant sort of number of different movements, right? So there's a number of different ways that we can be Christian. And I guess my question was more about, can we be Christians? Can we follow, by reading the Bible, by praying, by studying Jesus and his words? Can we do all those things without the attachment of the label of the
I think anyone can be.
Yeah.
Anyone can be. Even even people who just want to know what it's all about, they can just get the Bible, go through it. And but to run all the sacraments, like I can say in English, have to finish some kind of exams in church to belong to the community in Christianity. Have to pass the exams basically when in your lifetime.
Is that
belong
to belong? Yeah.
To belong to the religion fully and do the sacraments.
Yeah. I think I know what you're saying. I went through something similar myself. I'm from Croatia originally. It's very similar to Poland, right? You go and you take the sacrament of what do you call it? The first communion. And then you have obviously there's a sacrament of marriage and the other sort of.
Then you belong fully.
Then,
contribute.
But exactly. But this way, what I'm saying is, when I came to UK, there's no such sacraments. There's ways of following beliefs and religion without necessarily having to go through all those exams, as you say, all of those points in life, because the emphasis could be as much about what Jesus has said and what he's done, and try to align your life to it. Like, for example, Bible doesn't say about First Communion. Nowhere it speaks of that. And
so the people made it.
People made it, right? Even Bible doesn't say that the priest should not marry. In fact, Peter and the disciples, they all had wives, right? They all had wives, so there's no such thing. So when we start reading the Bible, we see certain things that don't necessarily exist today, but the church has introduced on top. Some of them are good. I'm not saying they're all bad, but some of them are never to be found in the Bible. They're not necessarily needed, right? And I guess my question is it worth to seek out those things and to align our lives? If we think that there's something true about Christianity, is it still worth following it, rather than thinking it as something that's just purely and only linked to a specific institution or a church?
Yeah, if you like the religion, if you like all of what it's all about, you should try and you should follow it and feel how you feel with it. You got options, right? If you feel you want religion in your life, yeah, why not to try that?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong about that. If you don't like it, just I know people who believe in God and they do not go to church or follow all these crazy rules, and just keeping to yourself.
Yeah.
And he's also helping for people, so
Yeah. But based on what you said in the beginning of the conversation, you said that you kind of left even that belief in God, right? Because you said that there's no, would you say there is a God at this stage, or would you say that there is like the science?
I don't believe it's anyone above us.
No.
Okay. I don't believe that. I think you just believe what your parents told you to believe in. So I grew up in Poland, but I could grew up in Afghanistan, and could be Muhammad could be my God. So it doesn't really make sense to me.
But what about the Bible then? And what about the stories, right, in the Bible? Do you think they're real or not real?
Some of them are real, yes.
Right.
Some of them are real, and any religion anyone from any religion can provide a book with stories. So anyone got their own story, something to believe in,
But it makes a difference if it's a real story, right? I mean, everything's a story. I mean, World War II is a story, but it's a history, right?
Yeah.
It's something that has actually happened, and that we can, looking back, we can learn from, and we can study it. I guess, do you see Bible as history? Do you see Jesus as a historical figure who came 2,000 years ago, who walked this earth, who did the miracles, who said?
No, I don't. As I say, I don't believe in miracles. All been I think they all been made up.
Okay.
By people in the history. History can be rare from made up or changed. Even so many things from Second World War was different than we know now, and so it's not 100%, I believe, or everything from the Bible and all the miracles.
Okay, and it's just do you have like any sort of reasons for that, or you just sort of look, miracles don't happen, therefore none of them have happened, and therefore
I never touched myself, so it's really doesn't make. It's just doesn't really work to me.
Doesn't okay.
I'm not touching, so I don't believe it's worked. Or they have ever been. Jesus existed. He was probably hung on the cross, but the rest of it was made up by people.
Okay, because that's your view. No, understood. Yeah, but I guess we are. If we could touch and feel everything that we are being told, that would be a wonderful thing. Like, for example, let's go back to science, right? Gravity, I can feel the gravity, right? But can I describe it? Can I touch it? I'm not sure that I can. Or electricity, or even like things like that are human in nature, like love and things like patience and kindness. Yeah. Those are emotions, right? And it's difficult to describe those scientifically, but they exist. They're no less real than like a tree or sun or whatever it is, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is that science doesn't necessarily describe everything in our lives. Would you say that we are spiritual beings? Would you say that we are more than just flesh and blood? Do we how would you describe human beings? I mean, I think we're special. We're a little bit more than just flesh and blood. Would you say the same thing?
We are the special species. We are the top, who actually brain and feel and go feelings, and even dog got feelings, but he doesn't talk. So we are one of the species. I think in another million years there will be another human or another superhuman, and we will be replaced by a war, or we can kill each other.
Yeah.
Very, very That's a very, very possible scenario for the near future.
Yeah, yeah.
So we are one of the species.
One of the species.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the species. Yeah.
But like many others, just a little bit more advanced, or are we?
We are advanced. Yeah. We use the brain a lot. Our brains is in constant use. We discover things. But yeah, as I say, we know it's not the end of it.
Right. Because I see us as probably much. I would say much more than this creation. Like the fact that what we can do, right, with our brains. Yes, it's amazing, but we self-reflect. We understand ourselves. We can abstract. We can love. We can cry. We think of things that don't exist. I mean, yeah, some of that is in our brain, but I feel like there's something like when you look at the sunset and you look at it and its beauty, right? And you feel, is that just chemicals in our brain, or is that just something deeper than that, right? Do we feel some way sort of a connection, right? Connection with something deeper than that? Do you feel like there's something more than just chemicals in our brain? What makes us human beings? Because I mean, going back to the Bible, right? He's, if you believe what the Bible says, we were made in the image of God. All the other animals and creatures and trees and everything, they were created by God in one way. But it says, well, human beings were created on the sixth day. We were made in His image. So we were not made in the image of animals. We were made a special creation. We were made in some way. Our blueprint, our template was from God, not from an animal. So there's a separation between the creation and us as human beings.
Yeah, but why are we killing each other so badly, like even worse than animals?
Yeah,
because we've got the gene from dinosaurs. We're killing each other. And it's like, I'm not getting all these stories. That's the thing.
Yeah. That's an interesting point, right? I mean,
yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, people are like, yeah.
What do you think?
As horrible as the animals, even worse.
Worse than animals, I would say. Worse than animals. Yeah. So I know I came from Croatia. I lived through the war, right?
Do we have all these behaviors, bad behaviors?
Yeah. What do you think is the reason behind that, right? So that's a huge problem,
it's
right?
It's part of evolution. We've got the genes from dinosaurs or from crocodiles, or some really crazy animals in the past. We've got gene, our brains.
Well, do you think it's the gene that drives us to do all these things?
Yes,
like, so for example, like if I'm not even talking about murder or killing on it. Like, do we do much more subtle things? Like we hurt one another, right? We say bad things. We lie about each other. We steal things. I mean, do you think those things are driven?
For the land, for the money, for no reason, because we.
But you think it's a gene driven?
Yeah.
So would
That's
there be
what I believe.
Would there be a gene for like thievery or for drunkenness or for lying, cheating, stealing? Would that be driven by genes?
Yeah. I would say so, yes.
But that would also mean that we cannot change those things, right? If it's a gene, that means it's baked in our bodies and we couldn't change ourselves. And yet so many people have reported transformation in their lifestyles, right? Especially like if you go back to the idea of Christian kind of conversion, how many people, even in the Bible, like Paul, if you talk about Paul from the Saint Paul from the Bible, he was a murderer. And yet he had this conversion experience on the road to Damascus, and he became a Christian who was advocating for peace, loving your enemy, loving your neighbor, and he ultimately died for his faith. And he abandoned his life of murder. He abandoned his life of hate. He got completely changed. Was that a gene change? How would that work?
He probably repaired himself, or he realized that's why humans got brains to sort out things for better if they can. I mean, they can judge their behavior. If they can change for good, then it's good. But some people never will change, and that's the reality.
Right.
People are smarter than animals. They can change for better, to being a better person, to take the responsibility for what you've done in your life in the past, bad things. That's why we are smarter. But yeah, as I said, we're not the last. Some better creations will come up in time.
I mean, if I can maybe just share something like my own experience, right? Then I'd love to see sort of your take on things, right? But when I was brought up in a Catholic environment, right? And I think just like everyone,
Yeah, I can feel it. You got proper knowledge.
yeah, but you know, if you knew me,
same as me.
but if you knew me when I was living in Croatia and when I was growing up, you probably not see anything different about me, because I was just going on church on a Sunday.
Same.
And it was just something that everyone did, and after coming home from Sunday, it would just be normal life, and my rest of the days would be normal. It was just church was just thing that I did because everyone else did it, but there was no real change in my life. I was still the same. I did all the things that everyone else did. It was later when I actually came to UK, maybe like was it 16, 17 years ago now, that I was asking myself, okay, why do I do this, right? Why do I keep up with this sort of fake, almost fake story, right? Why do I do this? Like either I'm going to believe or I'm not going to believe, but there's no point in like doing something just because it's something that everyone else does. So I actually went to look at the Bible, see if it's true or not. Because I said, look, if it is true, I'm going to go ahead and believe it fully. I'm going to follow it. I'm going to trust it. But if it's not, I'm just going to abandon it. I'm going to just get on with my life. I can spare some free time on Sunday at the very least, right? But then studying the Bible, something became apparent to me. It's actually quite a realistic book. It doesn't try to sugarcoat the situation. It talks about sin being the thing in our lives that we possess, that I possess. I'm a sinful human being, that I do that willingly. I do that with knowledge. I do hurt others around myself. I hurt my wife, I hurt colleagues at work, I cheat, lie, and steal. All of those things were true about me, and I had no excuse. I couldn't point to anything that forced me to do this. I did it with my own will, and if I was doing all those things, then I had every right to be expected to be judged for it. If there was a God, if he existed, then he had every right to deal with me in righteous ways, right? To give me what I deserve, and what I deserve for all the things that I've done. And I wasn't like murderer. I'm not a rapist, and I didn't rob banks. None of those things. But if he is knowing what's going through my mind, if he knows what I did, everything that I've done, and things that I'm ashamed of, even then, I would be pretty guilty in everything that I've done, right? I knew that about myself. And then I was in a pretty bad situation. I was like, okay, is that it? Is that what hell looks like then? Do we all go to hell because we've all fallen short of the standard of perfection that God demands of us? But then I kept reading on, and I sort of said, well, didn't Jesus come to do something? Didn't his son came to die on a cross? And then I realized that actually that is very much the game changer here. So God knows that I'm wicked. He knows that I'm imperfect. He knows that I cannot help myself, and he provides the solution. He sends his own son, Jesus, who came 2,000 years ago, who walked this earth. He knew our experience. He knew what it is to be tempted. He knew what it is to fall, and yet he never sinned. And ultimately, he went willingly on the cross for us. He paid with his life for our life, right? He paid so that we don't have to pay. He gave his life so we don't have to end up in hell, so that everyone who trusts in him, who believes in him, is going to have eternal life. I was like, wow. So that is the good news. Like, I have actually a solution. I have a solution to my problem of sin. Sin has been solved.
Helping you in your life.
Not just in my life, but in my afterlife as well. So there's a sense of peace that comes with not worrying about where I'm going to go, but also in this life, as you say, maybe there's a sense in which Jesus said, like, I'll send you the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is going to be with you, and he will change your heart, change your desires, change your thoughts, so that the things that I used to want to do all the time, like the stuff that was pleasing me and the stuff that I ended up doing, I started not wanting to do anymore. I started not wanting to be the angry kind of person that I was, or to not wanting to look at the lustful things that I used to be looking at, the pornography and other things. I started not wanting to do that because something changed in me, something like my desires. And that's what I was saying. I had this experience of something changed in me. It wasn't like Paul. It wasn't one day I was one thing, and another day I was another thing. Just gradually over time, I started to realize, look, if God loves me so much, and that His Son died for me, and if He sent me this Holy Spirit, wow, I want that. I want to be transformed. I want to be a better person. I want to follow Him.
Good for you. Yeah.
And I think that that was my experience. Obviously, this is true for me, but I've heard many other people going through that experience.
You believe still.
Yeah.
Into your religion, you are you didn't grow up with. So that's.
Well. Maybe not, right? Because I was growing up not knowing what I believed. I was growing up thinking that I knew, but only as my adult brain I researched it. And then because my background is in science, I studied in my university. I studied science, and that's what I'm a computer scientist, and I have a full-time job. So the next thing I did, I was asking all those difficult questions, like what about this Bible? Is it true? Is it trustworthy? What about evolution? And actually what I realized is that
we are at a certain age where we're looking for answers.
Looking for answers, exactly.
Looking for answers. I'm still looking. I'm not 100% sure. It's just the way my brain reached to a certain level where I'm not taking any more from any religion, actually.
Sure.
And so I've seen so much blood in so much killings for no reason, just beliefs.
And I agree. But to me, this is like.
You realize that we are in the brainwashing. We are brainwashing right from the beginning. It all depends where you were born. Yeah, as I said, I wouldn't probably talk with you if I were from Afghanistan, because there's nothing to talk about. We're just against each other, if you know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean, although I do speak to people from Afghanistan as well, and I just spoke to
helping you, answering your questions in life, and I'm happy. As long as you're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, no.
Keep up to be a good person, and that's the way I want to live.
Yeah, but I think what's important is, I think something you said about is being open and on a journey, right? I do think that I don't have all the answers. I wouldn't be pretending like I have. You keep looking, exactly. You keep looking, but I think there's a sense in which, if you think that there is some truth out there to be found, then you're compelled to look for it, right? I think what I've spoken to some people who have sort of completely given up, or who have been so closed-minded that they think they have all the answers. I think either of those situations are pretty bad, because if you're closed-minded, then that's going to be a pretty difficult way when you realize one day that you potentially have been wrong. But if you're just given up, then people are sort of depressed. They don't see the point in living. But I think what I'm trying to do myself, and I try to kind of encourage people to do, is just seek it out. Don't give up. There are good questions out there, and it's not, there are some good answers as well. So
I'm not saying no.
Yeah. So no. There's a journey. There's a resources. There are answers, and there are conversations to be had that can help us. That can help us educate us. They can help us along with our lives. So no, I would just. That's all. If nothing else, I guess, happens from this conversation, maybe that's the outcome. To keep striving, to keep looking, to keep being open to things.
Yeah. I'm open, for the science at the moment. So I'm looking for new discovery in life. Everything seems to be how we call it, understandable that we are from the Big Bang, and evolution is the way we were created. That's my beliefs. So I'm not gonna change it.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's just the science is obviously not going to give us the questions why, right, necessarily. It's going to tell you this is how things work, but they're not. It's going to stop short of saying why. What is the purpose of it? And that's not the field of science. And science wouldn't even begin to want to have those answers, because they go into the different area. humanities are sciences as well. Psychology is a science. Philosophies, to some extent, you can think about those sciences, right? So physics and mathematics and chemistry and biology are not the only truths out there. We are much more complicated than that. So anyway, that was one of my certainly learnings over the time that I've been looking at. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got my point of vision.
Thank you so much.
point of
Appreciate
view.
your time and your honesty and
Yeah.
sharing your views. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
No worries.
Thanks.
It's lovely to talk to you.
Lovely to talk to you as well.